Book of Creation, Passage 1, In the beginning there was nothing, save for the eternal shadow which we call darkness, and the uncreated one which we call Sakrelith. Darkness reigned unchallenged as the tyrant of the void before creation, its terror spread through uncreation and filled Sakrelith's heart with despair. Sakrelith screamed into the void, I have seen the darkness and I banish it. May the light spread forth. Book of Creation, Passage 2, As Sakrelith's voice rippled through the eternal shadow it formed creation where before there was nothing. Sakrelith's words coalesced into the sun which is called Theios, as well as the stars which gather in the sky. Sakrelith's words settled among creation and molded a perfect world where sustenance was bountiful and daylight shone unceasingly, burning away all misery and pain. Yet the world was barren of true life, so Sakrelith took earth and water together and created animals. He breathed life into them and spoke to them, saying, Spread forth and populate this world. For I know that you are good. Book of Creation, Passage 3, Animals spread throughout the world from the highest mountains to the deepest oceans. Sakrelith was not satisfied with animals alone, however, as they were but mere automatons who could not think for themselves. With great care Sakrelith molded the first sentient beings, who he blessed with the gifts of free will, intelligence and a divine spark. Sakrelith spoke and said to his creations, Rise, my children, and look upon creation. For this I have created for you to partake in and enjoy. Book of Creation, Passage 4, The children of Sakrelith stepped into the world, gazing upon its majesty with wonder and awe. They proliferated from the land of Genesis throughout the world, establishing communities together and living peacefully as Sakrelith watched over them as a parent watches over their child. Darkness saw creation and all that Sakrelith had done and was filled with envy and hatred, and so worked to undermine the children of Sakrelith by imbuing them with greed and suffering. Book of Creation, Passage 5, Darkness saw that the children of Sakrelith were susceptible to corruption and whispered temptation into their hearts. Darkness turned all of Sakrelith's children against him, so that they would speak to him, saying, Go. For we do not wish to have you in our presence, O Creator. And Sakrelith responded, I shall do as you say, for darkness has infested you and I am unable to remain here without causing you all great suffering. But one day I promise to return, to enlighten and to show you the true path, to prepare you for the end of days when the world shall return to the light that is paradise. Book of Creation, Passage 6, The great Creator looked upon his children once more and said to them, As you have accepted darkness within you and have made it a part of you, light still exists within you and illuminates you. During the day I shall reign supreme and you will walk the earth, but as Theios dips below the horizon, darkness shall reign and you shall rest as I do during the night. Book of Creation, Passage 7, Without Sakrelith, his children were twisted further by the darkness and Sakrelith was forgotten. The children of Sakrelith took for granted all that Sakrelith had given them and soon began to worship mere spirits. Sakrelith saw this and in his eternal mercy promised to send 5 teachers in his name who would enlighten his children and show them the path to salvation. They would be of divine essence and given mortal forms so that they may be partly divine and partly mortal. Book of Creation, Passage 8. When Darkness heard of Sakrelith's promise he said, I will send among the mortals 5 manifestations which will cloud their judgment and keep them servile to me, terror of the void. They will be uncreation, and will cause terror through many names. And the mortals will fear me, for they are the children of Sakrelith and I will be their undoing. Book of Creation, Passage 9. Darkness then released the first of his manifestations upon the mortals. And he would call this manifestation Stone Wrath, for his power would be great and his path of destruction unceasing. While appearing to be a mortal with naught but a leaf for clothing, Stone Wrath was anything but mortal as he tore through the world, leaving a path of horror in his wake. Stone Wrath's fury was so great that Theios took notice and struck him down with such force that it split Stone Wrath into 2 beings, both imbued with equal light and dark within them. These beings would be called Ranfes and Infes.